Akron, Ohio, 1993. Winter here was always brutally cold. Not like in big cities, where towering buildings trap the wind and provide some warmth. No, in Akron, the cold was real, biting, damp, and cutting straight to the bone. Especially if you didn't have a home. 9-year-old LeBron James sat in the back seat of an old car, wrapped in a thin jacket. His mother, Gloria, was in the driver's seat, bundled up in her worn-out sweater. Tonight, this car would be their home again. Mom, are we coming back here tomorrow? Trying to make it sound like an adventure rather than his reality. Gloria smiled, but her eyes held sadness. We'll see, baby. Tomorrow is another day. For them, tomorrow meant another search for shelter. A night at a friend's place, a temporary stay at a relative's, or sometimes, when they were lucky, a few nights at his grandmother's. Gloria worked hard, but it was never enough. LeBron hadn't been to school in months. At first, it felt like a vacation. No boring lessons, no long hours in a classroom. But soon, he started feeling left out. He imagined his classmates sitting in their desks, writing in their notebooks, laughing at jokes during recess, playing basketball in the schoolyard. And him? He was stuck in this never-ending cycle of uncertainty, cold, and instability. Sometimes he wondered, why us? Why do other kids have homes, normal lives, while I have this? But Gloria always told him, we're gonna make it, baby. The only thing you gotta do is never give up. LeBron didn't know how they would make it, but he believed in his mother. She always found a way, even when things seemed impossible. One evening, when Gloria had almost given up hope of finding a place to stay, she ran into an old friend, Frank Walker. He was a local football coach, a kind man who had known LeBron since he was a toddler. Gloria, he said when they met in a grocery store, I know things have been tough for you. She sighed, looking away. She hated asking for help. You're a strong woman, Frank continued. But even strong people need a break. If you want, let LeBron stay with us for a while. He'll have a bed, he'll go to school, and you'll have time to get back on your feet. Gloria hesitated. She never wanted to be apart from her son. But when she looked at his skinny frame, at his tired eyes, she knew this might be his chance. The next day, LeBron stood in front of the Walker family's home with his few belongings. He was scared. He had never lived with anyone else before. But as soon as he stepped inside, he felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Warmth. A warm meal. Warm smiles. And for the first time in a long time, a warm bed. One evening, after school, Frank took LeBron to a gym. Look, kid, he said. This is basketball. You might like it. Inside, older boys were running across the court, passing the ball, taking shots. LeBron stood at the entrance, unsure. Go ahead. Frank tossed him a basketball. LeBron caught it with both hands. It was heavier than he expected. He walked toward the hoop, a simple, worn-out backboard with a rusted rim and no net. He took a deep breath and shot the ball. It didn't even reach the rim. Laughter echoed across the gym. Hey, kid, you ever played before? One of the older boys mocked. LeBron dropped his gaze, embarrassed. But Frank stepped beside him and placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. Don't listen to them. Try again. LeBron inhaled deeply. He picked up the ball and shot again. This time, it hit the backboard. Again. Another miss. And again. Still no basket. On his fifth attempt, the ball arched through the air and fell right into the hoop. Silence. Then, Frank smiled. There you go, kid. Now you're on the right track. LeBron felt something shift inside him. For the first time in his life, he felt like something could truly belong to him. That he could control something, even if it was just on the basketball court. From that moment on, he never let go of the ball. And that was the beginning of a journey that would change not only his life but the entire world of basketball. That night, LeBron lay in bed at the Walker house, staring at the ceiling. He kept replaying the moment when the ball went through the hoop. It was a strange feeling, like victory. But it was just one shot. Why can't I stop thinking about it? He wondered. Outside, the wind shook the bare tree branches, casting eerie shadows on the wall. It wasn't the dark that scared him. It was something else. What if that feeling disappears? What if I wake up tomorrow, and it doesn't matter anymore? LeBron shut his eyes and forced himself to sleep. But inside him, a fire had been lit, and there was no way to put it out. The next day, he returned to the gym. The same older boys. The same laughter. So, you're trying again, huh? One of them, a tall, skinny boy with a smirk, called out. LeBron didn't respond. He just picked up the ball and started shooting. One shot, another, and another. Most of them missed. The laughter grew louder. Maybe you should try football instead, someone joked. He clenched his fists. He wanted to turn around, throw the ball down, and walk away. That would have been easier. That would have been normal. Run away, like always. But something inside him refused. His whole life had been about running away, running from reality, running from problems, running from hunger, running from fear. What if I just stay? He picked up the ball again and shot. This time, the ball sailed through the air and swished through the net. Silence. He looked at the boys. They stared back at him. They didn't expect me to keep going. And LeBron smiled. Practice became his ritual. He stayed after school, shooting over and over again. But with progress came pain. His arms ached so much he could barely lift them. His legs trembled from exhaustion. There were days when he wanted to collapse on the gym floor and never get up. Why am I doing this? He didn't have to play. No one was forcing him. But when he closed his eyes, he saw that ball flying into the hoop. He felt that moment. Because I don't want to be nobody. I don't want to disappear. I don't want to just exist. And so, he got up. And he kept shooting. One day, after an especially tough practice, he walked home, sore and exhausted. Gloria had come back to town, and they had dinner together at the Walker's house. She asked when they were alone. He didn't know how to answer. A part of him didn't want to get comfortable. Because what if he got used to it, only to lose it all again? He knew how fast things could change. Life had taught him that. It's okay, he muttered. Gloria smiled and ran her hand over his head. I'm proud of you, LeBron. Something tightened in his chest. He wanted to say something back. Something meaningful. But he just nodded and turned away, afraid she'd see the tears in his eyes. He didn't allow himself to cry. He didn't allow himself to be weak. But deep down, he knew. He was no longer just a kid trying to survive. He was a kid with a purpose. And for the first time in his life, he wasn't afraid to chase it. A new challenge. One day, Frank Walker sat LeBron down and gave him some news. You have a chance to try out for your school's basketball team. LeBron's eyes widened. But, LeBron, Frank said seriously, this won't be easy. By now, LeBron had already learned, nothing in his life was ever easy. At the tryouts, the gym was packed with kids, all eager to make the team. Many of them had been playing for years. They had experience. And him? He was just a kid who used to live in a car. The whistle blew, and the tryouts began. His opponents were quicker, stronger. They elbowed him, stole the ball from him, blocked his shots. And suddenly, that old fear crept in. I'm not ready. I'm not as good as them. But then, he remembered. The cold nights in the car. The hunger. The laughter of those older kids when he missed his first shots. No, I can't quit now. He fought for the ball. He sprinted forward. His heart pounded in his chest. This was the moment. He jumped and took the shot. The ball soared through the air and swish. Silence. Then, applause. LeBron couldn't believe his eyes. But he no longer had doubts. This was his path. This was just the beginning. After that day, something changed in him. When he woke up in the morning, his body ached from the games and training. But inside, he felt something new, a sense of purpose. He was no longer just a kid drifting from one temporary home to another. He was a player. He had talent. And for the first time in his life, he felt like he had control over his future. Training like a champion. LeBron started waking up earlier than everyone else. His days began before sunrise. He would go to the court before anyone else was awake and practice his shooting, his dribbling. But he didn't stop. Pain is temporary. But success is forever. Now, when he walked into the gym, the other boys didn't laugh at him anymore. They saw how hard he worked. They saw his improvement. And they knew. This kid was different. But every future champion must face a true test. For LeBron, that test came in the form of Sean Big Man Caldwell, the star player of the school team. He was older, stronger, more experienced. He ruled the court. And he didn't like it when someone challenged him. You think you're good, huh? Sean smirked as he walked up to LeBron after practice. I just want to play, LeBron answered calmly. Sean chuckled. All right, then. Show me what you got. And he challenged LeBron to a one-on-one match. This wasn't an official game. It was just two players, two competitors, and an entire team watching from the sidelines. LeBron grabbed the ball and started dribbling. Sean was fast. He read every move, blocked every attempt, cut off every shot. Is that all you got? Sean taunted. LeBron clenched his fists. He knew that if he lost now, no one would take him seriously. He took a deep breath and remembered all the mornings he spent practicing alone. Speed, strength, focus. He made a sharp move, dodged Sean, and bam! The ball went straight into the hoop. The gym fell silent. Sean's expression changed. Again, he said. And they played. They ran, they blocked, they fought for every inch of the court. Sweat dripped down LeBron's back. He was exhausted. But he couldn't stop. One more shot. One more play. One more chance. And when the final moment came, LeBron jumped higher than ever before. The ball left his hands and swish. It was over. He won. Sean stood there, staring at him. But this time, there was no anger in his eyes. There was something else. Respect. You're different, Sean finally admitted. You're special. That day changed everything. From that moment on, people started noticing LeBron. He was no longer just a kid trying to prove himself. He was a competitor. His name started circulating around the school. Did you see that kid play? He's insane on the court. He took down big man Caldwell. But with success came new challenges. Some players on the team didn't like that LeBron was getting all the attention. He's still a rookie. He just got lucky. Who does he think he is? And LeBron felt it. At practice, he noticed the jealous looks. Before, he had only battled his own fears. Now, he had to fight against those who wanted to see him fail. But nothing will break me. And he decided to prove that he deserved his spot on the team. The first real test. The gym was packed. Students, parents, coaches, everyone was there for the big game. LeBron sat on the bench, his hands clenched into fists. He wasn't in the starting lineup. The coach wanted to see how the more experienced players handled the pressure. But he knew his time would come. The game started, and it was rough. LeBron's team was losing. The opponents were aggressive, blocking every shot, pressing hard. And then, in the third quarter, the coach finally called his name. LeBron, you're in. His heart pounded. This was his moment. He stepped onto the court, and the crowd started murmuring. Some were excited. Some expected him to fail. But he wasn't thinking about them. All I have to do is play. The game was fast. LeBron caught the ball, but the defense swarmed him immediately. He tried to break through, but they blocked him. He almost lost his balance but managed to pass the ball at the last second. His hands were shaking. He had to be ready. Then, he got the ball again. This time, no hesitation. He moved quickly. A spin move. A crossover. He dodged two defenders. And it. Shot. The ball hung in the air. Silence. Bam. It went in. The crowd erupted. His teammates ran to him, patting him on the back. But LeBron just stood there, staring at the hoop. He knew. This was just the beginning. The rise of a star. From that moment on, LeBron became the star of his school's team. He spent hours in the gym, perfecting his skills. His shots became deadlier. His moves became sharper. His defense became unbreakable. And people started asking him, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And he had only one answer. "I want to be the best." He no longer had doubts. He no longer had fear. Because he had learned how to fly. What's next? LeBron's journey was just beginning. Ahead of him were even bigger challenges. The path to the NBA. The pressure of being the chosen one. The battles against the greatest players in history. But there was one thing he already knew. Nothing is impossible if you never give up. To be continued. The road to NBA stardom. After his first big game, LeBron's reputation began to grow. People talked about him in the hallways. His name appeared in local newspapers. Scouts started showing up at his games. But LeBron wasn't focused on the hype. He knew that talent alone wasn't enough. So, he trained harder than ever. Early mornings. Late nights. Every spare minute was spent in the gym. He didn't just want to be good. He wanted to be the best. By the time he reached St. Vincent St. Mary High School, it was clear he was different. He wasn't just a high school player. He was a phenomenon. His high school games were selling out like NBA matches. People packed into the gym just to watch him play. And with every game, he got better. Stronger. Faster. Smarter. And then, one day, his coach walked into the locker room, holding a magazine. "LeBron, look at this." He handed it to him. It was Sports Illustrated. And right on the cover, in bold letters, were the words, "The Chosen One." LeBron's eyes widened as he saw his own face staring back at him. The entire country was watching now. Some called him the next Michael Jordan. Some said he was the future of basketball. But with fame came pressure. If he had a bad game, the critics were ruthless. Maybe he's not as good as we thought. Maybe he's just a high school star. Can he really handle the NBA? LeBron heard it all, and it made him train even harder. But then, controversy struck. The Hummer scandal. One afternoon, LeBron's mother, Gloria, surprised him with a brand new Hummer H2. It was huge. Powerful. The kind of car NBA players drove. But there was a problem. She had taken out a loan based on LeBron's future earnings, a huge violation of amateur basketball rules. The media exploded. Did LeBron take money from agents? Is he breaking the rules? Should he be banned from high school basketball? LeBron was furious. "I didn't do anything wrong." He yelled into the phone when reporters tried to get a comment from him. For weeks, he lived under a microscope. Would he be suspended? Would he lose his chance at the NBA? But in the end, the ruling came back. He was cleared to play. Still, it was a lesson. The world is watching, and they're waiting for me to fail. So he gave them only one answer: winning. His senior year was legendary. He dominated every game. He led his team to the state championship. He was named High School Player of the Year. And then it was time for the biggest decision of his life. College or the NBA? For LeBron, the choice was obvious. He was ready for the pros. And in 2003, at just 18 years old, he entered the NBA draft. Draft night, a new king arrives. The arena was packed. Millions watched on TV. The commissioner stepped up to the microphone. With the first pick in the 2003 NBA draft, the Cleveland Cavaliers select LeBron James. The crowd erupted. LeBron stood up, took a deep breath, and walked onto the stage. This was it. He wasn't a high school kid anymore. He was a professional basketball player. And the journey was just beginning. The moment LeBron walked into the Cleveland Cavaliers locker room, he felt it. Some players looked at him with respect. Some ignored him. Some didn't like the hype surrounding him. But LeBron didn't care. He had one goal: prove that he belonged. His first NBA game was against the Sacramento Kings. The arena was packed. The pressure was overwhelming. Could he really live up to the expectations? Then, the game started. LeBron got the ball. He dribbled past one defender, then another. Then he rose up for a jump shot. Swish. Basket. By the end of the game, he had 25 points, 9 assists, and 6 rebounds. The world had its answer. LeBron James was for real. But the NBA was tougher than anything he had ever faced. Bigger players. Faster games. More pressure. And worst of all, Cleveland was struggling. No matter how good LeBron played, his team couldn't win. They missed the playoffs in his first year. And the critics started again. Can he actually lead a team? Can he carry Cleveland to a championship? Maybe he's not that great after all. LeBron heard it. And he used it as fuel. 2007, his first NBA Finals. For years into his career, LeBron had turned the Cavaliers into contenders. In 2007, he led them to the NBA Finals. It was the moment Cleveland had been waiting for. But there was a problem. Their opponents? The San Antonio Spurs. A team built on experience, discipline, and greatness. And they crushed Cleveland. A 4-0 sweep. LeBron watched as the Spurs celebrated on his home court. The pain was unbearable. I can't do this.